We had some preseason football last night. Garrett Wilson is back. AVT back to another position change. We're getting into all of it here on Boy Green Daily. Zoinks! But it is unequivocally the Super Bowl for New York Jet fans.
Field Yates, baby. Field Gosh Darn Yates. Let's bring him on the show.
Come on, people. Connor Rogers is joining the show. What's up, Connor? But Trevor Gosh Darn Sycamore, baby, for me, personally, my favorite New York Jet of all time.
Wow, it's great to be on. What an intro that was right there.
Paul, nobody does an intro like you, man.
Paul, you give the best intro of literally any podcast that I've ever been on.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas.
Dre Correa said it correctly in the chat. Good morning, New York Jet fans. My name is Paul Esden Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com, and welcome to Boy Green Daily. Whether you meant to get here or you stumbled in here, it all counts the same to me, baby. Appreciate you. We're going to be talking all things New York Jets, and it's live every single day at 7:30, this video show. It's also available anywhere you get your podcast. We've changed the name. It is officially Boy Green Daily, wherever you find your podcast, making it super easy and consumable for you guys as well on your drives into work. Let's bring him in, the handsome stallion, ESPN, baby, 98.7, Ty Gosh Darn Butler. What's up, Ty?
What's up, man? What's going on? How we doing today? What's going on, brother?
Well, spectacular. Thank goodness Garrett Wilson back at practice. The Panthers tried. They said, nah, we're going to cancel. It's raining. Boo-hoo. The Panthers said, we're not just going to practice. Jets were like, you know what? We're sucking it up. This is football. So they practiced on their own, and Garrett Wilson was back out there. Very light. They're bringing him back slowly, as they should, by the way. But it was awesome to see G-Dub back on the field yesterday.
Well, listen, the Panthers said, we kicked y'all last already. We don't really need to do
Probably.
yeah. Guys, go and practice to yourselves. But yeah, it was good to see Garrett Wilson back. Want to get Sauce Gardner back in the fold. He's dealing with the hamstring injury. Carl Lawson dealing with the back issue. So once all of these guys get in the fold, I'll feel pretty good. That was the one thing, and we talked about this on the first show. The one thing to guard against, because it's the NFL, it's the injuries, man. As high as your expectations can be, those injuries, especially this time of the year in training camp. We saw it a couple years ago with Carl Lawson. We saw it for us last year with Mekhi Becton. So that's the one thing you just hold out hope that doesn't happen significantly. And, the first OTA, Aaron Rodgers felt something in his calf. And we're all like, oh, my Lord, what's going on? But it's good to see back in the field, man.
Yeah, that's the analogy I use this one just because, all of my family was in the military and I've seen all these military movies. It's like this war field and we're on one end and we have to run to the other and I'm sprinting. I'm going over there and then I'm seeing like torn Achilles, Tim Patrick, and I just dodged a bomb. I'm like, whoa! And I'm like, I'm darting, I'm running. And then I see somebody else blown out ACL and I'm just hoping that I'm not the guy that gets hit with the bomb as the Jets guy. I'm like, up, sucks. Sorry to see Tim Patrick. Sorry to see pal. I'm just trying to sprint across the other side, and the land field that we're talking about is the preseason and training camp and all of this spice where the injuries can happen. Of course, injuries can happen normally in practice or games or things of that nature, but this is like the biggest land bomb and everything you want to avoid. So far so good. Nothing incredibly serious, which is nice. And again, they should be cautious. And I just heard this. I didn't even have this in my notes, but I just saw it from Frank Reich that he said his team's in a different position than most teams. They're playing most of their starters against the New York Jets on Saturday, who we don't know officially what Saleh is going to do for the full plan, but obviously Aaron Rodgers won't play, and I'm sure some select starters on top of that. But we're going to get the Panthers' best shot, whatever that looks like on Saturday.
Yeah, and I think that Sean McVay kind of ruined this a couple years ago when he said that starters were going to play a single snap in the preseason. Ideally, I would like to see, especially the offensive unit, play a couple of series, and maybe more than a couple, maybe even a half. And I get there's a high risk there, but when you look at, obviously the gravity of the season with the expectations where they are, and just the schedule off the rip, Paul. It's something that we've all been talking about. But Buffalo, Dallas, and you've got England, who you haven't beaten in 14 straight tries. They've got a new offensive coordinator. Then you come back home for Kansas City, or you stay home. It's New England at home, then Kansas City at home. Then you've got Broncos, and
Oh
then
boy.
you been an NFC champion Philadelphia Eagles. So because of that slate prior to the bye week, you would love to hit the ground running, man. Like you cannot afford to have this offensive unit be out of sync, as we saw a couple of days ago in that practice where
Right.
Rodgers was frustrated. So I would love to see them get at least a half in. And I know that's asking a lot, but just, going ahead into the regular season with that schedule and not having really played together against another team is a lot to ask.
Yeah, Ty, I forgot to bring this up last week. So I was live at the Hall of Fame wearing the hat. It was awesome. It was really cool. But one of the days I dropped out and you just kind of took over, which, by the way, was the right thing. Look at Ty Butler, the professional, said, all right, a man down. That's okay. I was built for this moment. And you did a show. And I'm going to be honest, I heard from a lot of fans. They're like, man, you know what? Who's this boy green guy? Ty Butler Daily. They fell in love with you. They were like, wow, the personality and the everything. And I said, first off, you could go listen to him on ESPN 98.7 if you'd like during the nights. But whoa, I mean, Ty, we bring it back in here. It's a reunion. And all of a sudden, my limp body falls aside. You're like, sorry, man. The show must go on. And you were a freaking superstar, according to the fans, man. Yeah.
Listen, we were on that battlefield again, and the bombs are going, and everything. And unfortunately, you got caught up, and I had to keep running. But showing love, man. It was fun to do, and I'm glad to be on here with you. I see you rocking the Hall of Fame hat.
That it, yeah.
When we actually get to start reacting to / previewing NFL games, like real games, and we're not talking about practice, but in the meantime, it's about the process. So, whenever we do get some content to talk about, I'm excited to jump on here and do that with you.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, if we're going to continue to use that field example, I'm just looking down at my leg that was just blown off, and I'm going, my leg, Ty, help me. You're like, sorry, pal. And then you just see, I just did it so aggressively. I lost my headphones there. But,
it's hard.
You just said, sorry, pal. I've got other things to do. So impressive nonetheless, Mr. Ty Gosh darn Butler. That was aggressive. So let's get to a couple other things. And let's get to the main thing, that Robert Saleh. This is something fans have speculated about. We speculated about last offseason in terms of presenting the best 5 offensive linemen on the field. We said, maybe we can move this to this to this. We all like to do puzzle pieces, but we don't know if the coaching staff is ever willing to do it. They proved last year that they were. Heading into this year, they said, hey, AVT is going to be at guard, and it's going to be just Andy. But Robert Saleh was asked, with all the questionable, Billy Turner and Max Mitchell specifically, who are rotating with the starters, with them not looking great, would you, throw AVT out there? And he said, we'll play the best 5. So he left the door wide open, and AVT was later available to the media. And he also said, hey, whatever it is for the team. I'll ask you the poll of the day, and we'll show you what the fans are saying, which is incredibly tight. Do you want AVT to stay at guard, or do you want him to flip out to tackle? What does Ty Butler say?
I want him to stay at guard because we know his apex is going to be reached at that position. His potential as someone who can be a pro bowler is going to be at that position. And it's actually kind of sad that you're asking this question.
Yeah.
It means that it is an indictment of the Jets with Joe Douglas, who, when he got here, was tasked with putting together an offensive line. That's 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And we're still with this. So, look, I get they have a ton of depth. The problem is the depth, as you can tell, ain't that good. We got 4 quarterbacks on the roster. That means you don't really have any, right?
Mm-hmm.
Max Mitchell was a Joe Douglas draft pick. He should, and I keep going back to this. When he was drafted, they called him a project. This was someone you were going to have to build up a couple years from now. You could see being a starter. This is a couple years from now. I expect him to be better. And the fact that we're still relying on 37-year-old Dwayne Brown to come in here and be the savior, fresh off of an injury. Dwayne Brown's the second oldest tackle in football. Wow. It's crazy that we're still dealing with this, and it's. I know fans are up in arms because if the season goes awry, we're going to look to the offensive line, and that's going to be bad, man. If the Jets don't get to a place where we envision them that they can get to, and it's because of a position that they haven't been able to build, or a unit they haven't been able to build for 4 years, that's going to look awful on Joe Douglas as a general manager of this team.
Yeah, I said that a couple shows ago that also, again, if this Aaron Rodgers thing fails, and of course it's within the realm of possibilities that something doesn't go right, I said it can't be because of the offensive line, because it's like the Andrew Luck thing, that the Colts had Andrew Luck for all this time and he's the star quarterback and everything, but they never give him an offensive line. And then he obviously gets beaten, battered, bruised, thrown out of the league. Then they finally get the best offensive line in football like the year after he leaves. Like, this is a golden opportunity for the New York Jets to go do something, to go chase something. And if Aaron Rodgers can still throw him the football, but it wouldn't matter if the offensive line was bad. That, to me, yeah, to your point, I mean, Dwayne Brown, that's kind of what the Jets are relying on right now. They're like, hey, don't worry. That old knight in shining armor is going to be running through that door anytime. Robert Saleh essentially guaranteed it without guaranteeing it, saying, we fully expect him back. He's going to be back week 1, no doubt. Whatever he said. I don't know, man. Putting all your eggs in a 37, soon-to-be 38-year-old basket. He turns 38 this month. That just it's a lot of eggs, man. A lot of eggs.
So
Eggs expire. Eggs expire.
someone floated this out, and
Yeah.
it's a pipe dream. It's unrealistic. Because I don't think that Jerry Jones and company would allow this to happen. But we do see what's going on there in Dallas with Zach Martin.
That we do.
Is it on the table, or is there a chance the Jets go out there and trade for him, and then you can move AVT over? But as far as the situation, Paul, like, think about how and we do the whole same old Jets thing. Think about how Jetsy it would be. For years, their problem was they couldn't find a quarterback. They found 2 with Sam and Zach and just couldn't develop them. They get a Hall of Famer who comes in already developed, after 18 years in the league. And why it fails is because you couldn't protect him. That would just be, if we're looking for same old Jets, that's same old Jets.
That would be brutal. All right, let's throw the poll today up. You guys can vote on that, by the way, down below. It's linked everywhere we're streaming live, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So feel free, guys, to check that out. Here's the poll, and I'm not surprised that it's close. Again, should the Jets keep AVT at guard, or should they throw him at offensive tackle? 48% of the fans say keep him at guard. 51% say we need him at offensive tackle. Again, continue to vote. That's available for the next 7 hours and change here live here on the program. Robert Saleh said this for those who missed some of his commentary. I know not everyone gets to consume all of that content. Robert Saleh said at guard, we think he's an all-pro. At tackle, we still think he could be a Pro Bowler probably. So, like, again, and for folks who don't understand what that means, Pro Bowl is kind of the popularity contest. All pros, like, that's the real. Someone doesn't accidentally stumble into all pro. Like, that's the best of the best. So to me, again, if his apex, as Ty Butler beautifully said, is at guard, then maybe that's where we should keep him and try to figure it out at offensive tackle. I would hate for last year to happen where he randomly has to jump to offensive tackle midseason. I just don't think that puts him in the best position. So we'll see. Although Ty Butler, a little tasty here on a morning Zach Martin trade and do some AVT. I don't know. All I could say is this. My dad's a diehard Cowboys fan. I'm going to that game week 2. That's going to be crazy. But Jerry Jones is like, man, completely dismissive of Zach Martin, saying, hey, he's basically not here like an injury. We're not even thinking about him. Hey, it is what it is. See ya. He doesn't exist right now. We're still rocking our world. I don't know. There's a lot of waters there where you could say, maybe an offer he can't refuse. He gets spicy.
That to me, it has to be, and this is me giving Jerry Jones credit. Like, that has to be just some leverage ploy. Martin, we know how special that guy is.
Yeah.
If you are the Cowboys, you're trying to win a Super Bowl. And think about this, Paul. After next season, Dak is going to be an unrestricted free agent. The Cowboys can't tag him again. It's in his contract. He's not allowed to be tagged. So he's going to be on the open market, possibly becoming the first $60 million a year quarterback. If you are the Cowboys right now and you have that window and you have that impending free agency, shouldn't you be doing everything in your power to surround this guy with enough talent to go out there and win? So you can stop being the embarrassment that you've been the last 27 years since you've been to a Super Bowl and an NFC championship game. That would be crazy.
Yeah, it looks like it. I have his contract in front of me. It looks like there's an opt-out for the Cowboys after this year. I think he's still under contract also for 2024 as well, but still coming up on it.
That's what I said. After next season.
Next season. Okay, I got you. Yeah.
Unrestricted agent after next season.
Yeah.
Market can't be tagged again.
Wow, that's interesting, man. Because again, I've heard a lot of rumors this offseason the Cowboys could just say, "Hey, we might move on," which is crazy because I think Dak gets a lot of hate, and I don't know if it's because it's the Cowboys thing or his own thing. He's in commercials and things, and maybe that bothers people. But he's a really talented quarterback, man. I know he threw a lot of picks last year, so that's part of the equation. Hey, Brett Favre threw a lot of picks. He ended up in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, so it's interesting. I like Dak a lot, but
Real
I don't
quick,
know.
I know that
Yeah,
show. We went back to that stuff. The problem with Dak is
yeah. Go
he's
ahead.
probably in that 6 to 10 range. And
Yeah,
now that
I'd say. Mhm.
now that you take Rodgers and Brady out of the NFC and a couple of years ago Breeze, he's become that upper echelon quarterback in that conference. There
Fair,
should
yeah.
be no reason why people don't feel more strongly about the Cowboys getting to a Super Bowl. They should be right there with Philadelphia. And Philadelphia's a little bit more of a talented roster. It might be the best roster in football. The
Sure.
Niners, obviously. But there should be no reason why the Cowboys aren't at least expected to get to an NFC championship game. And if you don't expect that, it's because you have reservations about their quarterback.
Yeah, that's for sure. And again, very, very interesting. We'll see. Again, we'll get them week 2. That's the first road game for the Jets and the first home game for the Cowboys. That's going to be a raucous crowd. That is a national game at the 4:25 America's Game of the Week kickoff for that. All right, let's go through a couple of nuggets here before we get you out of here, Ty. I saw Mike Greenberg, Greeny. He was begging the Jets on Get Up for this. And speaking of trades, since Aaron Rodgers gave the Jets all that money, they have the opportunity to make some moves. Bakhtiari, Aaron Rodgers' best friend, he's on Green Bay. They're in a weird phase. I'm not sure why the Packers would want to trade a really talented offensive tackle, but maybe he can make something happen. He was begging for that trade to help the offensive tackle situation with the Jets. You buy, you sell, you interested at all? What's your thoughts?
I'm interested, but there's no chance Gutekunst is going to do that. If you heard the reports out of Green Bay, it was by half the midway point of the season, which was a weird thing for them to say. By the midway point of the season, they will know all they need to know about Jordan Love, who they're either going to have to lock into a big time contract or they're going to be in the business of looking for another quarterback. And if you are evaluating him, there's no chance you're treating your best offensive lineman to the Jets when you just gave him your Hall of Fame quarterback. So I would love it, obviously, but there's no chance that the Packers are doing that.
I love that Ty Butler just lays it out in the line, crushing all the hopes and dreams of Mike Greenberg and any Jets fan potentially listening in. I assume you saw Hard Knocks, Ty, and one thing that slipped under the radar, I did a Twitter search to see if anyone was talking about it before I tweeted out the clip, but I didn't see anybody. In the middle of the episode, Jets defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich seemingly took a shot at Bill Belichick and the do your job thing. Here is a part of the quote. Do my job. I'm just going to swear and put the whole thing out there for you people. I will not censor this, but do my job. Is that good enough? Fuck no. That's the rest of the NFL. Do your job. Do your job. Fuck that. If we all do our job a fucking little bit more, that's 22 playing. That's 22 motherfuckers playing out there. So he said that, and I didn't write about it because I'm like, well, maybe only I heard that. And then I saw Rich Samiti put it in his Hard Knocks recap. Hey, was that a Belichick dig? I'm like, okay, that's all I need. Did you think it was dig or no dig? People have been arguing on social media about it.
It definitely was a dig. I don't know that it's a smart dig to be going at the greatest coach in NFL history, especially when you haven't beaten them since 2015. And, Ulbrich hasn't been a part of the team since then, but your team has not beaten the Patriots since 2015.
Mhm.
And that's a big week 3 game because let's just say, like, the Jets go out there, and I'm not envisioning this happening, but there are a lot of people who are picking the Bills, picking the Cowboys in the first 2 weeks. That means
Yes.
week 3 so important. And now you've given the Patriots some bulletin board material. Not that they need it, but coach, don't be going at the GOAT, man. It's not a good idea to do that, especially publicly.
Yeah, this is disgusting. I looked up the stats just because I added it to the piece. The Patriots have beaten the Jets 14 straight times. They've beaten them 22 of the last 24 times. If that's not enough, the Jets haven't beaten the Patriots without the assistance of overtime since 2011. That was in the playoffs, the last time the Jets were there. They've only beaten them twice in the last 12 years, and both of those were thanks to overtime. They couldn't do it within 60 minutes of regulation. That's a wild stat. Those are Patriot demons this team must exercise if they want to live out your dreams. You mentioned it. Obviously, they have 2 tough opponents early, so there is a world where they could be 0-2 heading into that game. But regardless of whether they're 0-2 or 2-0, I don't think a lot of Jet fans are going to be able to fully breathe until they conquer the New England Patriots demon, get that monkey off their back, and then they can progress to the rest of the season because that's been a thing forever.
And the scary part is you look at week 18 and you see
Right.
what's sitting there week 18. In what scenario does that game not mean everything for the Jets, given the landscape of the conference? And now you got to go to Foxborough.
Oh my.
This could be 2015, and actually worse than 2015 because
Right.
2015 Bills, but the Bills were out of it, and Rex Ryan was just trying to knock the Jets out of the playoff. This is going to Foxborough where you haven't won in
God.
what 12 years, so it'll be 13 years you haven't won in Foxborough, and now this is like a win or get in situation. I'm looking at the and saying that's going to be the Jets beat the Pats and Bill Belichick gets fired, so they knock him out of New England.
Beautiful. Yeah, we could only hope for that. But to your point, the scary possibility of 2015, like tenfold worse, coming back to me and something I'll never live down for the rest of my life is a little concerning, certainly, to say the least. All right, everybody, before we get out of here, I want to promote. It's also in every single article that we post every day, guys. Make sure if you're watching the show, you're enjoying the show in this video product, make sure you jump into our free contest. We're giving away a Jets jersey of your choice. It's a Jets schedule prediction contest. All the details linked wherever you're watching this on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Hope you guys can join. We're up to 86 Jet fans currently, and I'd like a couple hundred, hopefully, before we get to the season, which is less than a month away. So, guys, feel free to enter. I want as many of you in it as possible. I'm in it, Ty's in it, and so many wonderful big-time people are in it, and I want you guys to be in it as well. So make sure you guys do that. Ty, it's always great to catch up, man. We get to do it on a week-to-week basis. And here's this. You may not know this. You are going to be my last guest before I throw this computer in the ocean, and I'm going to Bermuda for a week. So, oh yeah, baby, that's my last Boy Green Daily, and I'll take a break. I'll be gone for like a week, and then I'll be back for the season, baby.
Wow, yo, have fun, man. Is the entire family going?
Yes, that's right. The whole family's going. So a sip of Mai Tai for me. I don't know if you could have that in your house apartment there with your beautiful family, but make a pina colada next week or something to send me off properly. I'd appreciate that. Yes, sir.
Oh, have some fun, man. It's a long season ahead. We're looking forward to getting all of your content digitally and written, of course. So go enjoy, go rest up, and it's time to play some football when you get back.
Can't wait. All right, we'll get one more chat with Ty next week before we sign off. So you guys will get, the Ty Butler Daily Show one more time next week. So you guys, I'm sure, will enjoy that. Ty, thanks, man. Good luck on all your radio hits, and we'll check in with you next week, pal.
Sounds good, man. Have a good one.
All right, thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 7:30 on Boy Green Daily. Take care.